And good afternoon, the last day of the RNC. Tonight, Mr. Trump officially accepts his party's nomination. Dominic Carter here live with you at the RNC in Milwaukee. And joining us right now is someone that's no stranger to the nation. He's been a candidate himself, was initially so in this race, and that is Larry Elder. So nice to see you, and welcome here to the convention in Milwaukee.
Dom, thank you for having me. I'm amazed you can read this. Look at this. Look at this. You see this?
My chicken scratch.
What is that?
My chicken scratch.
Morse code? What is this?
My chicken scratch.
My goodness.
So let's start. We're at the RNC, but let's start with President Biden, okay?
Yes.
Lots of speculation, heavy Democrats pushing him to get out. How do you see this playing out, Larry Elder?
Dom, President Biden is dead man walking. When you've got Nancy Pelosi coming out and saying he should go, Chuck Schumer coming out and saying he should go, Axelrod, who was one of Obama's top aides, which tells you that Obama is pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
They've never really liked each other. There's a book called Game Change, came out in 2000. After the 2008 campaign, in which Obama is quoted as saying, how many more times is Joe Biden going to say something stupid? Obama tried to talk him out of running in 2016. He was successful in doing that. He tried to talk him out of running in 2020. He was unsuccessful. There's no love lost between the two of them. Biden's frailties are there for all people to see. I don't know who that genius is, Dom, who said that Biden needs to get out more in unscripted settings. Every time he does, he says something stupid, like saying he's the first black vice president, female president.
Or pushing for an early debate that essentially ended your campaign.
Yeah. And he goes on BET and repeats that same lie that he was involved in the civil rights movement when there's no evidence whatsoever of that. Even the LA Times, Jake Tapper, quoting the New York Times, said there's no evidence that Biden desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, that he did any of that stuff. And the biggest lie, though, Dom, I want to talk about is a lie that launched his candidacy in 2020, which is that Donald Trump, talking about Charlottesville, said there were good Nazis and bad Nazis on both sides. He said no such thing. He even said during that press conference, and I'm not talking about the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis because they should be condemned totally. That's verbatim. He was talking about the debate on whether or not there should be a Confederate monument in the public square. Even Jake Tapper, 2 years after the fact, said that, and Snopes, 7 years after the fact, said that. So that whole lie is the entire basis of Joe Biden's campaign, and virtually nobody pushes back when he says it, and he still says it.
Fair enough. What do you, Larry Elder, expect to hear from Mr. Trump tonight? Obviously, he must say something about the assassination attempt.
Yeah. Because of that, I fortunately never have had a close call like that, although I must tell you, Don, when I ran for governor, an egg was thrown at me, and while the because they said Larry Elder deserved it. The sheriff of L.A. County said that the LAPD should take it more seriously, and he called it a hate crime. Also, my campaign was shot at 45 minutes before this happened, not with bullets, but with pellets, and one of them went through a folder one of my guys was holding. It could have gone through his eye. So a near miss like that changes you, makes you more reflective, makes you more compassionate. So I think Donald Trump is going to tone it down a little bit. The fire and brimstone that he normally does won't see that tonight. It will be a much more reflective, can we come together type speech, which is what I anticipate.
I haven't heard him speak. I've known him a long time since this happened, but he seems somewhat subdued,
yes,
somewhat toned down.
Yes.
So Larry Elder, I want you're a straight shooter. You call it the way you see it. What do you make of this entire assassination attempt, and how much did the Secret Service drop the ball?
Well, the Secret Service head should be fired. She was confronted on the floor yesterday and ran from all these senators who wanted questions. Obviously, nobody should have been on that building with that sight line to Trump. And apparently, several people tried to alert the police that there was somebody on there crawling up that building with a gun, and nothing was done. So there are all sorts of problems that I can see. There'll be an after-action investigation, and I think a lot of heads need to roll. But what I think happened is, because he survived it, it reminds me of George Washington. General Washington had his horse shot out from under him, had a bullet go through his hat, had a bullet go through his uniform. He was never struck. And so the troops felt that there was kind of a shroud of protection by God around him. And that's how a lot of people in this arena feel. Republicans are more religious than Democrats and independents. And so there's a real feeling in the building that Donald Trump was protected by God. I'm a big NFL fan. The greatest NFL catch was the Immaculate Reception. I call this the Immaculate Protection.
Interesting. So you're referring to Franco Harris.
Yes.
I'll close with this. I believe that the Democrats are done no matter what. And if you put Kamala Harris up top, that's like got to be the biggest joke in America. How do you see it?
Well, I think that we, meaning Republicans, should be careful about underestimating Kamala Harris and underestimating the media's ability to resurrect her. Because when the media is done with her, assuming she's the nominee, and I believe she will be the nominee, they will construct her into a combination of Joan of Arc and Rosa Parks. And keep in mind this, too. She's never lost an election when she's been on the ballot. She dropped out of 2020 before she got any contest, but she won DA twice in the Bay Area. She won as AG twice in California. She won as U.S. Senator in California, and she won on the ballot with Joe Biden. And she tried to become president. She wants to be president. She's never lost an election when she's been on the ballot. So don't underestimate her. But more importantly, please don't underestimate the ability of the media to create this icon now, a person of color, who's been ridiculed because of her so-called cackle.
They're going to do an Obama with her?
It's sexist and it's racist, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Larry Elder,
and one more thing.
Go ahead.
Inevitably, Trump is going to give her some sort of nickname. You know that. We don't know what it's going to be
yes.
yet. Whatever it is.
Give me an idea. What do you think it'll be?
I heard something about her being cackling something or other.
Right, giggles.
But Dom, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, whatever nickname you get her, however gentle it is, however he expresses it, the media will accuse him of being A, sexist, and B, racist.
Well, you know that's coming.
It's
both
coming.
of them.
Oh, yeah.
Sexist and racist.
Yes.
But I agree with you, Larry Elder. He's going to be a bit more subdued tonight and in the general election, and nothing will stop him from going back to the White House. The will of the people was on his side.
Right.
Larry Elder, you are a great American, and thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Dom. Thank you for having me.